want to make a brief video today about the importance of planning for authors particularly, but actually for anybody who's plans to create anything or wants to create anything, or even running a business. There are 3 points about planning. One is plan for 1 year. The second is do your big products first, or put a priority on your big ticket items. And the third point is being open to flexibility. What does all this mean? Well, I started thinking about this because this month, or the last 2 months, my wife has been struggling away, mostly my wife, with planning the itinerary of next year for our conversation English school here in Abikan. We teach about 130 kids weekly lessons, after school lessons, and that's our main bread and butter. And over the years we've been doing this. This is now, we've just passed our 11th year of doing this. I raised this because she really did a slap-up job of planning the whole year. In previous times, we've done lots of activities like doing a Shakespeare festival, the Shakespeare camp, taking trips. Went to England, various things, but it's all been a little bit haphazard. I can't remember all the different things that we've done. So my wife sat down and she planned out. Okay, well, this month we're going to do this. In October we're going to do a Halloween. It's going to be on this date. We're going to have but because of being able to do a plan, we were able to do things that we'd always talked about but hadn't actually made a chance to do, like taking some of the kids to Ueno Zoo as an English trip, taking kids to Narita Airport to interview foreigners, like they do on telly. There's a TV program here in Japan where they interview foreigners. We'll just do it ourselves with kids. I could go on about all that stuff. But anyway, the important thing is that by planning for a whole year, you're actually, apart from the inspirational stuff of, if you plan it, then it will happen, that kind of thing. More importantly, your customers will know what you're going to do, and they can plan accordingly. That certainly applies for running an English school, but I think it also applies for writing books. If you're planning ahead a year at least, you know when you need to be writing your book, or books, you know when it needs to be released, when you need to start working on promoting it and all that sort of stuff. If you're doing it a bit haphazardly and you're sort of doing it when you feel like it, it's not going to get done, or it's going to take a long time. I know, I've been guilty of letting my plans fester, but I've taken my wife's planning regime and applied it to books. So, number one, plan for a whole year. So I'm looking down now at my diary. I made a list of all the different things that I want to do in a sort of haphazard way, all the publishing items, and then I rearranged it into one item per month. And some run over different months. So we're now in, October, beginning of October. What I want to do now, for the remainder of the year, the big issue is to finish my Hannah Walker trilogy. Well, it wasn't always going to be a trilogy, but I think it needs to be a trilogy. And I've written 2 books. And the third book just hasn't been coming, and it's been sitting on my computer, which then died, actually, while doing another project. And I thought I had a copy. This is a horrible confession to make. I thought I had a copy on a hard drive, and I did have a copy on a hard drive, but it's a very early version where I've only got 20,000 words written, and I actually wrote 70,000 words. It's a complete first draft. Anyway, that's my own fault. So I'm going to have to go back and rewrite it. Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to it because I've been reading a lot of books, and I think my writing ability is a bit better than it was even a year ago. Certainly my knowledge of the tropes and what people expect in a mystery is better, so I can do a better job of writing. Anyway, so I've got, October, I'm going to tell you my schedule for the end of the year. For the next 3 months, October, November and December, I'm going to be writing my Hannah Walker 3, finishing it, and I'm going to publish it hopefully before Christmas. I'm not expecting any great sales, but I want to get the damn thing done. So it's a whole trilogy, and then that opens up marketing possibilities when you've got 3 books to market rather than just one. So October, November, December, working on Hannah Walker, and then at the same time, I need to finish off my final junior high school textbook, which I'm halfway through, but I've been doing a little every week. I'm going to try and, well, I will. I will get this done this year. So those are 2 items that will be done. So I'll have 2 books, 2 new products, assets as I like to call them, done by the end of the year. So then that leaves 2019. So I've just been thinking about that, and I've got things pretty much done for everything, planned for everything except for May and December are sort of open months. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just as by way of example. I'm going to be doing writing a short book on how to teach English from your home in Japan. That's going to be in January. February, I'm going to update my kindergarten textbooks, and all the textbooks that I've written. Making some products, some books that I can easily sell, or more easily sell, to other schools. That's a project, so I want to have that done by March, because that's when people start ordering books. The Japanese academic year begins in March, March to April is the weird academic year. So, because of planning for a year, I know that's the right time to have everything ready. So once that's done, that's the academic side. Then April, May, June in the summer, I'm going to revamp the Tower English publishing side, all of the books that I've been publishing for my school. What else? I'm just looking down here, and updating the press pack and my Patrick Sheriff author blog that's woefully out of date and needs a bit of cleaning up. It may sound like actually I'm just going through a list of things, but I've actually thought about where everything goes. Now, if you're writing something, you need to think about when's the best time to do it, and if you have a yearly idea, then you can structure it. It stops you from procrastinating as well, because you know, well, this month I need to be working on this. It doesn't mean that you have to do everything month by month. You can move them around, and I probably will. And probably half of these things I'll decide, actually, I don't need to do that now. I need to do it another time. But this is the plan as it stands now. Plans, you are allowed to change them. So let's see, what else? And then towards the end of the year, I'm going to be finishing writing Hannah Walker books for junior high school kids. I've written 4 short stories for English language learners, but I need to get those finished to about 12. So it's like having 1 a month available. So it'd be like a year's worth of study. So I need to write 8 more, but they're only short stories. What makes them difficult is they're graded readers. I have to be very careful about the language I use, not swearing or anything, but the level of language for English learners. So, they may know present tense, but they don't know present perfect, or they know past tense, but they don't know conditionals and all that malarkey. You just have to be aware of that as you're writing. So it changes how you write. And but anyway, if you've got a plan, you know how to put it together. So that's planning for a year. Gosh, I've waffled on about that for a long time. That's important. Okay, planning for a year, good. And within that, you need to put a priority, or at least I need to put a priority on doing the big, most important ticket items first. What I mean by that is I saw that from looking at the school, like our big ticket item, well, every month everybody pays, students at our school pay 7,000 yen, it's about $50, £50, something like that, a month to come in. That's our bread and butter income. But we have some high ticket items. In fact, the highest ticket item is a trip to England, which we're now doing because we plan yearly. We can do that every year. But if you want people to pay a lot of money to come to England, you're not going to get all the customers. It's like a pyramid, isn't it? It's a funnel. At the top, you've got the people who are coming every month. They're paying a small amount of money in Japan. And then it's squeezed down until at the bottom of the funnel, you've got the most expensive product. The most expensive product for us is taking kids to England. And we can take about 6 or 7 a year. But they have to pay for my ticket and my wife's ticket and our time as we lead them on a tour around England. But not everybody's going to want to go on that, and it's a small number of people. But if they know every year that there's going to be this trip, parents can start saving money. And in fact, throughout the school, because we only do it for year 6s, elementary school kids. So if the parents know that this is going to happen, they can start saving when the kid is in the first year of elementary school. So if you've got your big product there, you can then build your school towards that target. And similarly, for books, if you've got your big target of what you want, for example, I'm going all over the place here, aren't I? But for my educational books, I've now got a range of educational books, and one reason to write the How to Teach English book is a way of promoting my other materials. So I may even give away that book for free, but because I've got the big, if you like, the big ticket items, the textbooks are already done, or they will be by the end of the year, or the end of next year, sorry. And then I can start marketing it because I've got the main items are there, and then it's just a matter of linking it all up in a nice funnel shape. That's the idea anyway. And all that is possible because of making a yearly plan. Now, having said that, you also have to be a little bit flexible, especially as time goes on. So I've got it pretty well detailed up to March, what I need to do, March of next year. And then it's just a sort of vague ideas because I might swap things around. And then you get to 2020 and I've got like 4 points written down. I've got go wide, which means not just sell on Amazon, sell all my books everywhere. Patreon, which is a way of raising money. I've always seen it as a form of begging, but actually, anyway, I could go on about that. But start a Patreon account once I've got more products to actually offer people, more things that they would actually want to pay for. So that's in 2020. And Little Rock Memoir, I spent 4 years in Arkansas, and I fancy writing a book about it, but it doesn't really fit in with anything else I'm doing, so I've just pushed it out to 2020. And then finally, an Olympic series. I hope to have cleared my decks of all the nitty-gritty stuff that needs to be done. And in 2020, the Olympics is coming to Tokyo, so I want to take advantage of that fact and write hopefully a new detective series set around the Olympics, or the Olympics in Japan. Or it's a little bit vague because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. But that's the flexibility. That's there, and I know it's written down, so it's got a good chance of getting done. But it's still sort of vague because it's in 2020, and who knows what will happen by then. So there's a bit of flexibility. Anyway, so I recommend, even if you don't are not particularly organised, it's a good idea to make some vague plans. I mean, literally just one item per month, I've written down here, so that allows you to focus on the big products that you can write or create, and then to be flexible as time goes on. A lot of this I've learned from, or not learned, but I've been following kind of in a mentoring kind of way, Paul Teague, who I've mentioned many times before, who does a really good author diary, a podcast, Paul Teague, Teague. And he's a stickler for details. He has a big planning board and ticks things off and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not quite that. Can I say anally retentive? No, I'm not quite that organised, but I think it's valuable. If you're organised, then it gives you the freedom to think about other things, because you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. It's in the plan, and you just look at the plan. What am I doing today? This, and this. By the end of the year, you'll have something rather great achieved. That's the plan. Anyway, onward and upward. Have a good October, Halloween, and all that stuff. Okay, see ya.